Good morning and welcome to this video which is going to look at move 3 in detail. So, the first two moves have been about filling up first your lower dantian and then your middle dantian with energy. Logically it follows that the third move is about filling up the upper dantian with energy. That's why with this move you're working with your hands up here. Now, in an ideal world, you will have your hands up there, making a nice arch quite high above your head. But if you do that, then I want you to think about your shoulders and think, well, are my shoulders hunched? Because you don't want to hunch your shoulders. So this is probably the very first move where you are likely to be limited severely by how high you can get your arms. So if between your breath and your shoulders, you can only get your arms up to about there, or even only to there, as long as your hands are somewhere in or above the upper dantian, you're going to be fine. So, rule number one for this one is only take your hands as high as you can easily get them without hunching your shoulders up. And if you've got slightly arthritic shoulders or you've got fibromyalgia, there could be other limitations on how far you can move. So always take that into account. So effectively, this move is about scooping energy into the top of your head, in through the crown chakra if you're into your chakras. And that's why you have this scooping motion with your hand. Move 3 is really very simple. I'll deal with the top half of the body first, and then we'll come down to the bottom half of the body. So ignoring anything that you're doing with your feet, the top half, quite simply, as you breathe in, you bring your hands up. Then on the out breath, just let one arm uncurl. And on the in breath, it comes back up to form the arch again. Then, out breath, the other hand floats down, and on the in breath, the other hand comes up to form the arch. And it really is that simple. It's not dropping your arm down like that. There shouldn't actually really be that much movement in your shoulders because it's just the arm just opening. You curled your arm up to get it into the arch, and you want to uncurl it so that your hand is in a position to scoop the energy. And then as you breathe in, you just curl the hand up again. So there isn't really that much shoulder movement. This is more about the elbows and maybe the wrist, because if you watch my hand carefully, you'll see as I uncurl it, I uncurl the elbow, but I also uncurl the wrist. So if you think of it as trying to scoop energy in the top of your head, it's obvious what you're doing. You're putting that hand out to scoop. As you breathe in, you're doing the work, you're bringing the energy up and filling the top dantian. It's called chanting rainbows or rainbow dancing because you can actually see that as your arms move through the air, they do actually paint the shape of a rainbow. And some of you who watch this will know that I use quite a detailed rainbow visualization with this movement. But not with every class, I have to say. Okay, so physically, this movement is about your shoulders, because obviously we're going from having your hands down here to having your hands up there, there is bound to be some shoulder movement. So it's giving some gentle exercise to your shoulder joint. And then the uncurling, as I've already said, gives some very gentle movement to your elbow joint. And if you're carefully watching my hand, you'll see that it's also giving some gentle movement to my wrist joint as well. But as those of you who've watched these videos before know, that's only half this move, because there's also a lower part of it. And I want you to think about this logically. So as you breathe out, you lower one arm down. Now, that could overbalance you. So what's the logical thing to do to make sure you keep your balance? Just to dip slightly on the knee on the opposite side. If that makes sure you keep your balance. Now, this is the first time that we've done anything in these videos where you've not had your knees both equally balanced. The dip on the knee is not doing that and doing that, and it's most certainly not leaning over. It's a very, very subtle move, and your back should always be staying upright. It is a very gentle transfer of weight, first onto the left knee. So as you breathe out, just dip gently onto your left knee. As you breathe in, your weight comes back to the centre, and as you breathe out, you dip gently on the right knee. If you think of it as if your bum was rubbing up against a wall, your bum should always be straight. So as you dip on one knee, your bum slightly moves horizontally across the wall, and then the other way, but it's a very, very slight move. If you're seated, obviously you can't transfer your weight from one knee to the other. But what you can do is raise one heel. So if I am saying dip slightly onto your left knee and you're seated, you can't do that. I want you to raise your right heel slightly. So the idea is that you get some balance for what your arm is doing. So you dip on the left knee, and that means that you can uncurl your right arm and take it out beyond where you've had any weight before, so that you can still stay upright. It's actually not that difficult. As with all these moves, if all you're doing is a very, very small move like that, because that's all your shoulders or your arms or whatever are going to let you do, that's absolutely fine. I'll remind you, I always say it's not about doing it perfectly, it's about doing it perfectly for you. Because I know I have people watching these videos who have got vastly different physical capabilities. I've got some people who are like me, who are normally mobile, all the way through to people who are in wheelchairs and have extremely limited mobility. In between, there's a group who, can walk, but maybe not stand up for a long time. And choosing to sit to do Qigong is perfectly acceptable. Because you are still using your upper body, and if you're engaging these core abdominal muscles, you will still be getting some major health benefits from that. But you can still simulate the transfer of weight by raising one heel and then raising the other. I know you can't see my feet, but I'm sure you can see the knee moving as I raise the heel. So, energetically, this third move is about making sure your body is filled up with energy. Physically, it's about gentle manipulation of the elbow, the shoulder, and the wrist, maybe even the hand, if you include the hand in uncurling. And there is another aspect that you can add into this, which is using your eyes, because you direct energy where your eyes go. So if, as you breathe out, you follow your hand off with all this move, follow the palm of your hand, that central, there's a acupressure point in the centre of your hand called, I believe, Lo Gong, I'll check that. But there's an acupressure point in the centre of your hand, which is what is actually doing the work. And if you turn your head, not your head, but your eyes, just move your eyes to follow the movement of your hand with your eyes, that actually helps to move the energy, because your energy is moved by your breath, by your imagination, and by your eyes, and by your will. So following your palm of your hand with your eyes is an advanced thing to do, but if you know that that's something that you could be aiming for, you can start seeing if you can do it. Okay, let's now go on to do the set. So get yourself into your position where you're going to be doing the set. Make sure you've got plenty of room to spread your arms out. Try to make sure that you're somewhere you won't be disturbed. And then I'd like to bow in, which is why I always start my classes. So the martial arts bow is very simple. You breathe in, bring one hand, your left hand across your body with the palm up. Breathe out, left hand across your body, palm down. And then bow from the waist. Now, if this was a martial arts competition bow, as you bowed, you would keep your eyes on your opponent. I hope you can see the difference between what I did first time and second time. This isn't a combat situation. When you are bowing and keeping your eyes down, because in a class situation, you have, I hope, perfect trust in your other students and certainly in your teacher. It's a mark of respect. In this case, it's respect for the other people in the class with you, whether you can see them or not. It's respect for me as your teacher, whether you're in the same room with me or not. And for me, it's a mark of respect from me to you, because your feedback helps me to become a better teacher. So, right, so get yourself standing. We've bowed in. Okay, so you've got your feet together, and I want you to step out with your left foot, so your feet are hip width apart. Just take a moment to get yourself into that good bear stance. So that's feet are hip width apart, parallel, knees very slightly bent, core abdominal muscles engaged, back straight, neck straight, crown of head pointing up at the sky. Let your hands hang loose by your side, and just for a moment, take a moment to just breathe. Get used to this slightly odd position. Maybe get a sense of what your body needs today. Maybe get a sense of what your mind needs today. Try and work mindfully, being very aware of signals that you're getting from your body and from your mind. Then I'd like you to imagine that you're a tree. I'd like you to imagine You can feel roots growing down from the base of the trunk, growing down deep into the earth, connecting you to the earth and helping to keep you stable and balanced. And gently turn your hands so that the palms are facing backwards. And then with your next in-breath, just gently let your arms float up in front of you. And when you breathe out, just let them sink all the way down. Only move your arms as far as you can easily manage in one gentle, easy breath. Don't rush anything. And certainly only make the moves as big as your body is happy to make them. Remember to work within 70% of your maximum ability. And maybe as you breathe in, you can imagine a puppet string on your wrist, so your arms floating up almost with its own accord. And as you breathe out, the puppet string is released, so that your hand just floats down. And with a gentle movement of your wrist in this moment, rising up in the in hand and then gently floating down in slight meandering. Breathe in, let your arms float up. Breathe out and sink back down. And then last time for this move. With your next in breath, your hands rise up and turn your palms in and let your arms spread out. And as you breathe out, they float back in and back down. Cover this move in detail in the last video. If you're not sure, go back and watch that one again. Then make the movement as big or as small as you're comfortable with. Find your own breath and your own rhythm. Breathe in, feel your chest and lungs expanding. As you breathe out, feel them relax. Breathe in, your hands rise up and spread apart. As you breathe out, they float back in and then back down. And then last time for this move. And the next in breath, take your arms up ready to paint rainbows. Breathe out, dip on your left knee and let your right arm uncurl. Breathe in, everything comes up to the top. Then do the same, dipping the right knee and letting the left arm uncurl. Take your hands as high as the shoulders are comfortable with and make the move as big or as small as your body is happy to make it. Breathe out, one hand floats down, breathe in, it floats back up again. And then last time for this move, you breathe in, bring your weight back to center, bring both hands up. And then as you breathe out, turn your palms outwards and let your hands sweep down by your side. And then in breath, take your arms up again. Again, and take your hands as high as your shoulders. I'm happy to allow you to do so. If you breathe out, just let your hands float down. Make the circles as big or as small as you're comfortable with. Breathe in, your arms float up. As you breathe out, they sweep down by your side. And then last time for this move. And this time as you breathe out, let your hands come gently into position in front of your abdomen, ready to balance your chin. As you breathe in, imagine you're feeling around a small ball. Breathe out and let your hands gently sink down. Imagine you're feeling around that ball and then trying to push it underwater. Be careful to keep this move quite small. You need to take your hands no higher than your thumb. Breathe in, feel around the ball, breathe out and push it down, and then last time for this move. Breathe out. And just let your hands come to rest in front of your belly button. Just rather stand or sit, very still, very quiet. And just let everything settle. And then when you're ready, get yourself into position, ready for our meditation. And as ever, I'm going to begin the meditation with the sound of the singing bowl. Get yourself comfy wherever you're sitting or lying. Now, mindfulness meditations can be done with the eyes shut or with the eyes open. This is not about clearing your mind. It's about being aware of what your mind is doing. Some people do find it easier to be aware of what their mind is doing by closing their eyes. Fewer distractions. And I'm going to start this meditation by sounding the singing bowl 3 times. Third time, I'm going to let the sound of the bowl die away quite naturally. What I'd like you to do is just to focus your attention on the sound of the bowl and listen to that moment when the sound of the bowl fades into silence. And as you find that point, the sound becomes silent. I want you to become very aware of where you're sitting or lying, and the touch of the bed or the chair or the stool or whatever on your body. Really notice the touch of whatever you're on against your body. Maybe you're aware of different textures touching you. And then you really get a sense of how your body is supported. Maybe imagine gravity pulling you just a little bit more so that you sink a little deeper in. And as you do, let your shoulders relax just a little bit more. And then I'd like you to bring your attention to your breathing. I don't want you to alter your breath in any way. I just want you to be aware of every in-breath and every out-breath. Just breathe quite normally. And just notice what it is that you notice about your breath. And if part of your mind is saying, this is silly, I've got other things I need to think about, well, that's perfectly natural. Human minds are meant to think. So if you notice that your mind has wandered away, I don't want you to tick yourself off. or to tell yourself that you're rubbish at this. I want you to congratulate yourself for noticing what your mind's doing. And then gently, just lead your mind back to focusing once more on every in-breath and every out-breath. And as many times as your mind wants to wander off, just as many times you lead it back. Because whatever else is going on in your life, all that matters right here, right now, and all that you need to think about is just this breath coming in, just this breath going out. Just this breath coming in, just this breath going out. Use your breath as an anchor to keep you in this moment, and then in this moment. Because whatever's going on, you only have to deal with it one moment at a time. What do you notice in each breath? Maybe you notice air moving in your nose or throat. Maybe you notice muscles moving in your chest or in your abdomen. There's a lot of movement associated with your breath. But right now, can you become aware of that brief moment of stillness that happens in between each breath? When your in-breath becomes an out-breath, then again when your out-breath becomes an in-breath, just for a moment, everything is still. Just become aware of that moment of stillness. And as before, if your mind wanders, just gently lead it back without criticizing or judging. We all have very busy lives. We all have very busy minds. And sometimes stillness can be very hard to find, but we all need stillness. And you can use your awareness of your breath as an anchor to help you find stillness when you need it. Just notice the stillness in between each breath, and maybe imagine that stillness gradually spreading around the whole of your body. Let your awareness spread to encompass the whole of your body, and be aware of it filled with stillness. And notice how good that feels. And then I'd like you to lead your mind back once more to focusing on every in-breath and every out-breath. Maybe think of each breath as an anchor to anchor you into that moment of stillness. Let your awareness start to spread outwards, so that you'll become aware once more of the support that your body is getting from the bed or the chair. And then become aware of the room and the sounds both inside and outside the room. And then once again listen for the sound of the singing bowl. Wait until it has sounded for the third time before bringing yourself back to normal awareness. As you bring yourself back to normal awareness, opening your eyes if you shut them, I'd like you to keep in the front of your mind the thought that you can take that feeling of stillness or that good feeling with you through the rest of your day, and you can recall it simply by focusing on your breath. Okay, I hope that you found that interesting and enjoyable. I will be back next week to do another video, and I will be looking at move 4. If you have anything specific that you would like me to cover in a future video, please let me know. Please do let me have some feedback on how these videos are helping you, and if there's anything I can do to improve them. I always welcome feedback and criticism. But apart from that, I will see you approximately this time next week, and I hope you have a very good day.